Quick story time, man. This is going to be about acting on your emotions, acting irrationally, and how they may affect the trajectory of your life. Back in 2020, the spring of 2020, right as things were starting to shut down for COVID, only essential workers were really going to work at this time. This is probably April or May of 2020. I was working for a lawn care company. It was just a private lawn care company owned and operated by one guy, and we were his workers. So we mowed apartment complexes around the city, and it was one particular day. It was myself, this other black dude, um, and this supervisor. Like he was the head. He was like our little supervisor. Like he was. I don't think he was a foreman, but he just had a little bit more experience, and he basically ran our crew. He was our little crew leader. Um, and then there was there's this white dude. So like it was me and this black dude, and then like this Native American dude. I don't know what he was. Um, that was the crew leader, and it was another white dude um, with us in this vehicle. We're going down the highway, and we're going to do this job. Now the two of us, the two black guys, we're we're in the back seat of this truck. We're probably going 65, 70 miles per hour down the highway, right? And so my job was when we got to the job, when we got to the site, I ran the weed whacker. And so because I ran the weed whacker, I would have to cut spool and I would have to cut line. And this line that you use in a weed whacker it's somewhat thick. It's like a thick plastic it's pretty hard. And so I carried a knife with me. I carried a knife that I could cut this line with. And so we're in the back seat going down the highway, and these two dudes in the front, are just spouting the N word, N word this, N word that, like, and smiling about it, you know. Um, and I could feel my heart rate accelerate. I could feel my adrenaline pumping, because that touched a nerve. And in the back of my head, all I wanted to do was pull out my knife and stab this dude in his neck. Uh, but I didn't. I talked myself out of it. And the reason I talked myself out of it because at that time I had places to go. I had things to do. And in his case, he was very ignorant, probably um, had a ninth or 10th grade education. Sorry, I can't. But um, the dude was this ignorant. The white dude that was with him was just ignorant, and it's just like I was on a different path, and I wasn't gonna allow a couple of words to change where I was going. Um, because I already had things kind of lined up for the summer, and was gonna leave town for a new job that was a lot more exciting, a lot more fulfilling, and was really part of my destiny and something that I was planning for about 6 months. And so I had things to lose, and when you have things to lose, you start thinking logically instead of emotionally. What will this cost? Does this align with my goals? And oftentimes, there's that saying, follow your heart. And I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that because, like, in what situation outside of, say, like a romantic relationship would you follow your heart? Do you follow your heart when you make financial decisions? Do you follow your heart when you make dietary decisions? It's just like, make sure that your decisions are rational and make sure that the decisions you make don't lead you astray or cost you everything that you work for. And it's always not just one decision. It's plenty of small decisions because those small decisions add up. Those small irrational decisions come with a tab as well. If for me, like, I sometimes binge eat or eat emotionally, and that may be like some sweets here, a couple cookies here and there, but like if I do that every other day, that's gonna add up, and I've definitely paid the cost of that. So use your head, um, and know when the right time is to use your gut feelings and your intuition. But for the most part, you should be thinking through your decisions and the outcomes that may happen with that decision, because that could put you off course. Because if I made the decision to assault that guy, you know, I may be in jail. I may not even be alive because he was driving the truck. I may have survived the crash, but I may have been paralyzed. So I'll land this plane here, but just like I said, think rationally and make sure that your decisions are aligned with what you're trying to achieve, because these things add up. And you are where you're in your life because of the decisions that you make. 95% of your decisions are, or how you come to where you are now. Use your head.